once again to our current section. So this is our last section. Alright, so today we'll be looking at the management of cash and also cash equivalent. That is what we'll be looking at today. Alright, so this is our objectives. At the end of this section, you should be able to, one, we have to explain the cash management, two, to explain the reasons for holding cash. Why will a business or an individual hold cash? What will be the driving force or the reasons or motive for holding cash? And third one, to prepare, which is our main objective, to prepare a cash budget and also identify factors to consider in investing short-term funds, and also identify the various avenues for managing surplus short-term funds. Alright, so there are three main reasons. Alright, we have three major reasons why companies choose to hold cash. So first of all, we have the transactional motive. Okay, transactions motive. Alright, so business runs their day-to-day activities with cash. Alright, if they want to buy inventory, if they want to renew their stock level, they all use cash. So businesses mostly tend to hold cash for transactional purpose because of the day-to-day activities, the cash inflows and the cash outflows that occur daily. So that is the major motive why businesses hold cash, alright, in order to meet their day-to-day transaction. We also have another motive here, which is the precautionary motive. Alright, so precaution means that you are being conscious of what might or what is possible to or likely to happen. Alright, so because of unforeseen reasons, business may hold some reserve cash so that in case of an emergency, they can use the cash to bail out. Alright, we also have speculative reason. Alright, so maybe a business or investment opportunity may come up and there will be the need to invest some cash in it in order to get some returns. Right, so if you are speculating, it means that there is a possible profit or benefit in an investment opportunity that you would like to take advantage of. So that will be another reason why a firm or a business will choose to hold cash. All right, so let's move on. All right, so the optimum amount of cash held by a company will depend on the following factors. Alright, so the optimum amount of cash that is being held by a company will depend on the following factors. So we have one here, forecast of the future cash inflows and outflows of the company. Alright, so that is an optimum or the reason why business will hold some quantity of cash. So if you expect to receive more cash in the future, you tend to hold a lesser cash today. I hope you get it. Alright, so that you don't over or give a high cash value in your cash in hand. Alright, we also have the efficiency with which the cash flows of the company are managed. Alright, so if you don't efficiently manage your cash, there is no need of holding too much cash, because if you don't know how to manage cash and they give you 10 billion today, 1 week time, possibility of you spending them or you squandering them or embezzling the money is very high. Right, so if your efficacy level is low, you have to hold lesser cash. We also have this point here, that is the availability of liquid assets to the company. All right, that is another one. We also have the borrowing capacity of the company, and of course the company's tolerance of risk. Right, it's also another reason why, or that will depend on the optimum amount of cash that a business will hold. All right, let's move on. Yeah, so this is the major reason for this section, cash budget. I know you've heard of it before. All right, so cash budgets are central to the management of cash. Okay, so one way or the other, we've all done a budget before, but maybe because you didn't write it on a paper or using Excel sheet, you think you didn't do a budget. All right. Sometimes you have 100 cedis on you, and you'll be thinking about how to spend it, right? So these are all budgeting. Okay, your mom will give you 10 cedis to school, and your mother will be straightened on it and make sure you bring 5 cedis home. So if you are spending on a budget. I hope you understand. Good. Right. So they show expected cash inflows and also outflows over a budgeted period, and it also highlights anticipated cash surpluses and also what deficit. All right. All right. So yeah. So this is a perfect example that we are going to use to prepare our cash budget. All right. So from the information below, prepare a cash budget for Sir John for April, May, and June. Right. So you can decide. Cash budget can be quarterly, it can be monthly, it can be yearly. All right. So these requirements, we are required to prepare the cash budget for April, May, and June. All right. So this is monthly budget. But we are doing it just for 3 months, so it can be 1 quarter kind of. All right. So April, May, June is second quarter. January, February, March is first quarter. April, May, June is the second quarter. All right. So we are preparing a columnar form. So this is the table. We have the month, January, February. So January is here, February is here, March, April, May, and June. So this is the information we are giving. We have sales figure, actual sales. We have 80,000 for February. March is 75,000. April is 90,000. May is 85,000, and of course June is also 80,000. You also have the purchases. All right. So the sales is more like the revenue. All right. The things that you sold, the generated cash inflow that you received for this. Cash inflows, the cash that is coming inside the business, and cash outflow is the money that you, the business, is spending. All right. So we have purchases. So purchases will be a cash outflow item, right? Because as you are buying the things, you will be spending, right? So this is the cash outflow. Okay. And we have wages. So wages too is cash outflow. We also have miscellaneous. Miscellaneous are more like petty expenses that the business also incur. So it's also cash outflow. So sales is what? Cash inflow. All right. So let's see if there is any additional information to this question. Good. So you are further informed of the following. So point one. So 10% of purchases and 20% of sales are for cash. All right. So it means that yes, we learned from our previous section that we can have cash sales and also credit sales. All right. So cash budget is prepared for only cash items. All right. So once you sell and you receive cash, you prepare your cash from the word cash budget. All right. Yeah. So from the question, we are saying that 10% of purchases and 20% of sales are for cash. So if you take purchases figures, 10% of the amounts were paid cash instantly. All right. So example, if the purchases for April is 80,000, it means that 8,000 of it was paid instantly. All right. So that one is cash purchases. It means that we also have credit. The remaining will be credit purchases. Sales is also 20%. 20% of it are for cash. So it means that the sales figure that you recorded, 20% of it was instant cash sales or carry for cash. All right. It means that the remaining 80% were sold on credit. I hope you understand. Yeah. So if 20% is for cash, it means that our cash receipt, we are going to see 20% of it to be for the cash sales, and the remaining will be what? The credit sales. Our second point here, the average collection period. I hope you understand the average collection period. All right. So it means that 80% of the amount was sold on credit. So how we retrieve this 80% amount of money from the our debtors is what is termed as the average collection period. What's the number of days that we gave them to pay? What's the number of months or the duration that was given to them to pay? That is the average collection period. And they are saying that the average collection period of the company is 1 month. And also, credit purchases are paid off regularly after 1 month. It means that both our debtors collection and also creditors payment is after 1 month. So if you buy the thing in, or if you sell the goods to them in January, it means they will pay the amount in February. That is 1 month time. All right, I hope you understand. So it means that January's creditors figure, or January creditors will pay in February. February sales will be paid in March. March will be paid in April. I hope you understand, in that order. It's the same for purchases as well. All right, let's come to our third point here. Wages are paid monthly, and the rent of 500 excluded in expense is also paid monthly. All right, so wages are paid monthly. So if you incur or your staff or your employees, all right, at the end of the month, once they are done working, you have to pay them. You don't have to carry it forward. No, every month you pay them. So January wage will be paid in January, February will be paid in February, in that order. And they're also saying that there is a rent of 500 Ghana cedi which is excluded in expense. It means that there is an expense figure, but it excludes rent. So you also have to record rent as an outflow figure. And they gave us the cash balance on April. All right, we are to prepare the cash budget for April, May, I think April, May, June, something like that. Yeah. So the opening balance was given for just 1 month, but always know that the closing balance for current month will be the opening balance for the next month. That is why they don't have to give you both opening balance and closing balance. All right, so maybe your total cash receipt minus your total cash payment will give you a figure. All right, you add that figure to your opening balance, and whatever you get, the resultant will be your closing figure. So that closing figure will be the opening figure for the next month. I hope you understand. All right, so let's see how we go about it. All right, so let's see how we go about it. Good. So this is how it's going to look at. Don't worry, we'll walk through together. All right, so these are respective months. So we have April, we have May, according to the requirement, we have June. All right, so we prepare based on cash receipts. So we start with the cash receipt before we go to cash payments. All right, so from the question or from the preamble, they gave us some information that cash sales, 20% of sales are for cash. All right, so it means that in every month's sales, 20% of it is for cash. So we find 20% of each month's sales and we record as the cash sales. All right, but we are doing our workings from April to June. So with April sales was giving us 90,000. So right, that was the sales for April. So we find 20% of it, that is 18,000. So 18,000 is the cash sales for April. We do same for May. All right, so you go and look at the May figure. The May figure too was given to be 85,000. So we find 20% of it. We do same for June. I hope you understand. So it means that the sales figure is 100%. 20% of it is for sale. It means that the remaining 80 were sold on credit. But how was this amount collected? All right. Yeah. So we've done for the cash sales. So let's go to the second preamble. Right. They were saying that the average collection period of the company is 1 month. All right. So it means that with the 80% remaining balance, it will be paid 1 month time. So April sales was giving us 90,000. All right, 18,000 was on cash basis. So the remaining 72,000 will be on credit. All right, but that one will be collected 1 month time, or that one will be paid 1 month time. So it goes diagonal like this. Each sales has the credit in the next month, something like this. I hope you understand. So the cash sales will be paid in the same month, but the remaining 80%. So this one is 80. So we have 80% here. My pen is worrying me. 80%. Right, so we have 80%. So 80% of it will be paid in May. And May sales to the month of May, it sells to 80% of it will be paid in June. Alright, so this figure here relate to May, because it will be paid 1 month time. April 2 will be paid in May. It means that March sales will come to April. Alright, so even though you are doing for April, May, you have to consider the outliers. You have to consider the month before and also the month after. Since you are paying 1 month ahead, it means that March 80% of it too will come to April. So that is why we are having 60% of 60,000 here. That is 80% of March sales. Alright, I hope you understand. Good. So we had only two cash inflows, that is the cash sales and also credit sales. So we add the two and we get, so this figure is 78,000. We have 89,000 and also 84,000. This is the total cash receipt. So from the question, we had only this as the cash receipt. You may have more than that. Alright, so you have to look out to know which ones is the cash inflows and cash outflows. So let's go to the payment side. So this is our payment side. And in the payment side too, we had 10% of purchases and were paid in the month of purchases, or in the month they were incurred, and also the remaining 90% of it were paid 1 month time. Alright, so the same concept as we applied here. So each month, so this one was, so since it's 5,000, it means that the amount was 50,000. Right, so April, let's see, April purchases. April purchases was 50,000. So 10% of it is 5,000. So we have same for May, and also we do same for June. So that's how we got. But the remaining amount will be paid 1 month time. So as I said, so this month is April, our first line here. So this is April. So it means that 90% of March purchases will be paid in April. Alright, so that is why we are having this amount here. So it goes diagonal like that. So it goes something like this. Alright, so April, 90% of April purchases will also be paid in May. So that is why we have this 45,000 here. We do same for June. Alright, the wages were paid in the month in which they were incurred. Alright, so each month and its respective wage, we have wage 24, we have 20, and also 18,000. Rent too in the same month that they were incurred, as well as miscellaneous. Alright, so these are our total cash payment. Okay, so you can do your total here, total payment. Good, so that's our total cash payment. So you sum all the totals and you write on there. I think I did it. Next slide. Good. So these are total payment. This is the total payment. So for April we have 73,000, 300,000. May 2 we have 76,000, and of course June is 68,500. So this is the total payment. So we have to find the surplus or deficit. Alright. So the surplus or deficit will be the total receipt. That's why I've written something as R minus P. So total receipt minus what? Total payment. Alright, so our total cash receipt minus our total cash payment. And we are getting 4,700 here. It's a positive figure, so it's a surplus. If it's negative, then you put it in brackets, something like this. Right, indicate that it's what? A deficit figure. You have 13,000 here. You have 15,500 here. Alright, so these are our surplus. But remember, they gave us an opening balance in the question. They gave us for April, and the opening balance for April was 15,000. Alright, so we find the closing balance. So the closing balance for April will be the surplus, which is 4,700, plus our opening balance, which was 15,000, and we are getting 19,700 here as our closing balance. All right. So, and as I rightly said, the closing balance for this month will be the opening balance for the next month. All right. So this 19,700 becomes the opening balance for May. Okay. So let's write 19,700. Okay. So you add it to the surplus figure and you get the closing balance here. Whatever you get becomes the closing balance for this month. So you also carry it forward to the next month. You add it with the surplus and you get the closing balance for that month as well. Alright, so let's do the summation. We have 13,000. You can also do with your calculator to confirm. 13,000 plus 19,700, and we are going to get 32,700. So you have 32,700 here. So 32,700. Right. So this figure becomes the opening balance for June. So opening balance for June will be 32,700. So we add it to the 15,500. We are going to get 48,200. 48,200. So that is the closing cash for the end of the month of June. I hope you understand. It's very simple. So just do it and try with more questions. You understand it further. All right, let's move on. Go. So this is another point. So factors to consider when choosing an appropriate investment method for short-term cash surpluses. All right. Factors to consider when choosing an appropriate investment method for short-term cash surpluses. So these are the factors. One, you have to consider the size of the surplus. Alright, you have to consider the size of the surplus because some investment methods have just minimum amount. Alright. So you also have to consider the ease with which an investment can be realized. Alright, the ease involved, and also our third point is when the investment is expected to mature. Since the funds are short-term surplus, you have to consider the maturity period also, and also the risks and yield to the investment must also be considered, and of course any penalty which may also be incurred. All right, you have to consider the liquidity, whether it's highly liquid, or if you are to sell your investment, how are you going to get, what's the transaction cost you are going to incur. You have to consider all these penalties as well. All right, so this is the end of this section. So these are the section summary. So in this section we discussed the topic or the basic principles for managing cash. We believe that cash management tools have been deeply assimilated because you will find them useful in your personal life. Alright, so in as much as it's a course you are studying, it's also very useful. So from now or from today on, you have to know or learn how to manage your own cash, how to budget your expenses. Any amount that you want to spend, you have to make sure you is budgeted for. All right, don't just buy things that you've not planned for. All right, of course you can receive monies that you are not expecting. Yes, it's possible, but don't buy things that you've not planned for. All right, and also remember to revise your notes. I know you are gearing towards examination, so I advise you to learn harder, revise your notes, read other materials, and of course study in groups if it's possible. All right, so that will be the end of this section and of course this course as well. Thank you for your cooperation. Make sure you learn a lot. Thank you for everything. All right, have a nice day and I'll see you again. Bye bye.